on behalf of the Africa Forward team, welcome to the Africa Forward Building Together convening. This event is done in partnership with Social Enterprise Ghana, Social Enterprise Kenya, and Social Enterprise Ethiopia. Thank you to our partners for just doing this with us. I think this partnership, this collaboration really just embodies why we are here. And if we know anything about the African social entrepreneurship ecosystem, is that it's a growing one with a lot of potential, but we just know that it's really fragmented. And so we want this convening to be one where we come together and align. I think at this moment, I'm just going to pass the mic to the director of policy and ecosystem development, Yogi, to just hold the mic and just give us a great, great, great welcome. Thank you, Yogi. I don't know if you can unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you're joining from. It's so great to have so many of you on this a really important conversation and just the start of many conversations that Africa Forward is looking to catalyze across the continent to really help build a movement, to bring the ecosystem together, to support the coordination and alignment, as Nana says, of the sector. And so that's what we're about. Now, Africa Forward believes that the critical, sustainable, and decent jobs of the future in Africa will be created by social entrepreneurs. And as the World Economic Study, which was the mapping of the social enterprise sector in the continent, what it showed us was that they have already created an estimated minimum of 12 million jobs on the continent. And that accounts for 6% of the total jobs created by the sector globally. So Africa is growing, it's contributing to the social enterprise sector, and it's really making a dent. And we want to help support that. We understand that social enterprises, as the study shows, are inclusive employers, right? 91% of them employ youth, 82% of them employ women, and they really, they demonstrate job creation in a way that is stable and that is growing. So whereas the private sector looks to reduce jobs to manage overheads, the social enterprise sector seeks to grow them. This is really important also in terms of where that happens. So mostly social enterprises look to they work in urban areas, but they look to grow in peri-urban and rural areas, again, which the private sector doesn't do as much of. And this is borne out by several studies. So we know that, that this is a really important sector. So Africa Forward seeks to impact in the space through various ways. And we look at this as we are a system orchestrator. We want to help coordinate and support and strengthen and enhance the work, the amazing work that's already being done across the sector. We convene, we amplify the voices, the models, the systems, the approaches that are currently doing great work, and we help learning to occur in this space. And we do this through different ways, right? There are 5 key ways in which we do this. We intervene in the policy and enabling environment space. We work with governments and partners to strengthen the environment. We're trying to support that there's SSE policy that will remove the friction in terms of how social enterprises try to work in the space. We also look to, strengthen visibility of social enterprises and build a broad understanding across the ecosystem so we can create a culture that embraces social enterprise and makes it easier for us to do the work that we do. We also look to build partnerships and coordination in the space. So this convening is an example of that. We're really looking at bringing like creating shared spaces and bringing the various actors together so that we can collaborate. And, you know, as the saying goes, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And that is what we're trying to create, is when we come together, what is that magic that can happen through the, you know, the connections that are created, through the collaborative initiatives that may come about, and through the support that we give each other. We also have a big focus on skills and capacity development. We work on connecting funders and implementing to support job creation on the ground. So looking at not just from a programmatic perspective, but from a model perspective, what's actually working, and how do we help to scale those models that work across the continent. And then all of this is underpinned by data and evidence. How do we support the sector to have information and evidence that can help us build a business case for what we do, that can help us make informed decisions, and that can help us create a shared learning loop in the sector. So that's what Africa Forward is doing. I'm going to hone in on you know, our reason and our approach for today. As we said, this is really about bringing the ecosystem together. It's the first of many conversations, and we're really looking at providing this space for not just us as Africa Forward to be talking to you, but for you all to be talking to each other, because really that's where the magic happens, and that's where we can really enhance what we're doing as a sector. So that's what today is about, going from fragmentation to alignment, going from sort of informal ad hoc collaboration to maybe a more structured approach, and to providing a space where in future we can continue to learn and build on the work that we all are trying to take forward. So I'll leave it there and hand it back to you, Nana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yogi, for that. Thank you. And to everyone just joining, welcome again to the Africa Forward Building Together convening. It's good to have you. It's really good to have you here. I'll just want everyone just joining to please introduce yourself in the comment section. Some housekeeping rules, please. Keep your microphones muted, please. And we want to make sure that we have such an engaging time. Your voice matters. Feel free to share your comments. If you have any questions during the speaking sessions, please use the raise hand function or just drop your comments in the comment box. We want everyone here to leave feeling like, hey, they found a community and their voices were heard. Okay, so moving on to the next segment now. We have a few things planned out, right? Look at our agenda. It's we have a lot in store for everyone here. We have great talks. We have conversations by ecosystem leaders. We have from ecosystem those who have built ecosystems within the social entrepreneurship ecosystem, just sharing their thoughts, their learnings, and we'll have breakout sessions. Truly, we are in for an amazing time. Okay, so I want us to do a poll, just a baseline survey to understand where we are all at. What do we understand by movement building? What do we hope for this movement to be? Just some really thought-provoking questions that will just help us get ready for the sessions ahead. So if you can use this link, menti.com, just type in menti.com or scan the barcode, you get straight to menti.com and answer questions 1 and 2. Only questions 1 and 2, not A, B, C, but questions 1 and 2. That'll be really good. If you have any questions, any challenges, please use the comment section. We have the tech team on ground, and I'm here to support you. So let me just say that again. To do the polls, please, everyone needs to be involved. It's going to be very interactive, I promise you. Use menti.com. Put in this code if you have to. This is 840-55614, or scan this barcode to the platform. It's very easy to use. You just have 2 simple questions to ask, and we will talk over that. Yeah? Okay. I can see some people in the waiting room. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to share that screen again so that we can all get to see menti.com. Okay. All right. So let me know if you are in the, let me know if you are on menti.com. Okay, I love the responses I'm seeing so far. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Yes, I'm loving the responses. If you're just joining in, please go to menti.com, use the code 840556114, and you can scan the barcode here. And the first question is, what does being part of a movement mean to me? And I can see very, very good responses. Yes. Collaboration, solidarity. Okay. Oh, supporting the group's efforts, contributing the skills. I love these responses. Yes, yes. All right. Wow, this is so good. Working together for a better future, aligned to a common set of values and benefits that benefit society as a whole. Wow, so profound. Being part of a community, channeling their energy to a vision. I love that. Have a collective responsibility in problem solving, exponential impact. Love it. Okay, being part of an impactful change season. All right. Okay. 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 So I know that we have the second question. I love this question. Just keep it coming, please, while I move to slide two. Slide two is also an interesting question too. Okay, so question two. Can we move to question two? What would I like this movement of social entrepreneurship ecosystem builders to achieve? What would be like? I would love your responses, please. Let's just keep it coming like question one. Yes, I would like to take a moment to welcome Dr. Wamuyu. Welcome, Dr. Wamuyu. Thank you. Dr. Wamuyu is our advisory board chair at Africa Forward. It's great to have you here. We also have Cheryl Dorsey, the co-chair for Catalyst Now. It's so good to have you. Welcome. And to everyone joining, welcome. On behalf of the Africa Forward team, we welcome you. We are really excited to have you. And we just look forward to really just having a great time of connection and engagement here. And so let me get back to your responses. What would I like this movement of social entrepreneurship ecosystem builders to achieve? I see showcased on the ground case studies. Wow, great. Okay. Policy development for SE in member countries. That's so good. Okay. To build inclusive, sustainable systems that empower communities, scale impact, create jobs, and ensure social enterprises thrive as drivers of economic and social transformation. Wow. One said proof oneness and a framework for Africa by Africa. Love it. Oneness and a framework for Africa by Africa. Yeah, we should frame that actually. Systemic change at every level. Yeah. Policy development process. Change at the grassroots, not conversation in far-flung personal and virtual platforms, but restoring human dignity to real people. I felt that. And so we have enlightened the community about best practices on social change. I'll just take one more, but please let's keep those responses coming because again, this conversation would form part of what we would continue the engagement going forward. So would love to just know what your expectations are, what is in your heart to help us build a better ecosystem. Yeah. So enhance grassroots, amplify the real intent of African SEs in Africa and their contribution to the development of the continent. That's so powerful. So one more, create a platform that opens in networking and builds sustainable systems. Wow. I love these responses so much. I wish I could go on, but like I said, just keep it coming while I just move on to the next segment. Okay. I feel like your responses keep you ready to engage in the next conversations coming up. And we have a great lineup of speakers we are so proud of. We have people who have been in this space and have built this ecosystem to what it is now. And our first speaker, please let me know if you can. Just let me know. Okay. Please let me know if you can see my screen and it's okay. Please just keep your responses coming. Thank you. All right. I want to take this moment to welcome our first plenary speaker. You see, your responses to those questions, we're going to dive in deeper with the conversations we'll be having right now. Sophia Otu is the program and community lead of Shrub Foundation. She plays such a strategic role in community building and program development, and there's no other person so fitting to talk about systems change requiring collective work than Sophia Otu. Sophia, please have the floor. We're so honored to have you here.
Thank you so much, Nana, and then to the whole Africa Forward team for this kind invitation, and to all of you for making time to join us this afternoon for this very important conversation. So as Nana said, I'm part of the Schwab Foundation team at the World Economic Forum, and I lead our work on collective social innovation, which is why this topic is quite close to my heart. And then for the foundation, I'm sure a few of you are quite familiar with the work that we do. So for the past 27 years, we've been working to identify and support leading social change makers globally. And then, from that work, we realized that the leaders that were creating the deepest and most sustained impact were sometimes not working alone. And because of that, we made a deliberate effort that we're going to spotlight and document and convene collective work in social innovation. We actually created a new award category just to spotlight this work. And I'm sure some of the research work that we've done can be shared in the chat after this. And from that, one insight became very clear to us that the social innovation sector is not lacking solutions. Actually, what is missing is sometimes our ability to align systems around these solutions, which is why spaces like this matter, because we are all doing important work, but most often we're doing that individually and we are not yet building together. So before we go into the nitty-gritty of why systems change will require us to work collectively, I want us to start by grounding ourselves in the reality of the social innovation ecosystem that we are all operating in, particularly the Africa Social Innovation Ecosystem. And this is with some insight that we've done with Africa Forward, with SAP and a few stakeholders looking at the state of social entrepreneurship in Africa. So from what we saw that the scale of social innovation in the continent is actually massive. As you can see with some data snapshots on the screen, that there are about 12 million jobs being provided, also generating 96 billion in annual revenue. That is just in Africa alone. And if you look globally, it is a $2 trillion sector, and it's actually bigger than the fashion industry, right? And for me, what is even striking is that the fact that it's more than half of them are being led by women, it is youth-centered, and it's also operating at very critical sectors that are important to the continent. So you can see that the sector, it's a powerful growth for inclusive development. And whilst there is the opportunity, so is the gap. That despite this momentum, we have efforts being fragmented, we have resources being duplicated. So to help us understand why this keeps happening, I also want us to first understand the nature of the challenges that we're trying to solve as social entrepreneurs and why ultimately collective work will be required to solve these challenges. First of all, we need to know that the challenges that we're trying to solve are so interconnected. If you take youth unemployment, for instance, it is not just a job issue, right? It is linked to education, it is linked to policy, it is linked to finances. And these are systems. And we know that systems are held in place by things like rules and regulations and power and mindset. Another reason why we need to think collectively in addressing systems change is the fact that solutions to the social challenges that we're facing, they do not sit with just one actor or one sector. It is actually found at the intersection of sectors and actors and disciplines and communities, meaning that no single organization or no single sector holds the answer to the challenges that we're trying to solve. So if these are the reasons why we need to think about embedding collective approaches and systems change, the next question that we need to ask ourselves is how does it work? Like what are the ways by which we actually do collective work? I want to first start by pointing out that collective work does not happen automatically. It happens by we being intentional in bringing actors into a shared system and a shared narrative. And this means that we need to build trust and relationship among these actors who do not normally collaborate with each other, right? And to do that, we need to pay attention to context because each of these actors are coming with different orientations and different backgrounds. So we need to pay attention to this context. Also, because sometimes the actors that are most closest to the ground, they understand how the system operates on the ground, and they are able to share insights into how we can co-create solutions to the challenges that we're facing. We also need to pay close attention to the concept of power when we are connecting actors in a shared system. Because sometimes power persists because, resources and decision-making are concentrated in particular places. So what collective action helps us is that it helps rebalance power so that, there's shared ownership and there's also shared decision-making. Another way by which we can practicalize collective work is that we need to create the infrastructure that would allow for ongoing collaboration. And we need to know that collective action is not, collaboration or collective action is not just an event, right? Normally we come to spaces like this, we share insights, we go back and we continue to work in silos. So what are the means, what is the engine that will allow the collaboration to keep going beyond the initial convening? We need to invest in, pathways and, architectures. It could be shared data platforms. It could also be learning networks or other coordination mechanisms. And I think the work that Africa Forward is doing is one of the ways to demonstrate how, you take just from our initial convening to an ongoing collective work. And when we do that, we need to know that the opportunities that this will unlock is massive. In the opening, we mentioned how there's a lot of duplication of efforts and also resources not being allocated effectively. When we are able to align on collectively, we are able to, mobilize resources at scale. We can take the work of Financing Alliance for Health, which is, an African-led initiative that is bringing together the private sector, donors, and civil society to help strengthen primary and community health systems across the continent. And through this collective effort, the Alliance has been able to mobilize hundreds and millions of dollars to strengthen health systems across the continent. Another opportunity is that it helps us to create pathways to tap into grassroots solutions. Because as I mentioned earlier, most often the people that are closest to the ground, they have insights into how we can create solutions. So by doing that, we give them agency to be part of the change-making process and not just as mere beneficiaries waiting to be told what to do. Another opportunity for us is that we are able to tap into a huge data set that can help influence decision making. And an example of an organization doing that, which is part of our community, is Mabiomas, that is using collective data sets to help inform environmental policy. So just to wrap up, like, what does it mean? The question is, how does this apply to us? What does it mean for all of us in this room? I want to start by saying that at the core, collective work is not new. It's actually how society has created change for a long time. But we're living in a world that is becoming so polarized. Yes, the challenges are so interconnected that no single organization will be able to solve that. And in that world, working alone is no longer viable, right? Which is why we need to also, work collectively. And one of my favorite quotes as we began to do this work on collective action is the fact that humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to collaborate at scale. But collaboration, we also need to know it's not as easy as it sounds. And Adam Kahane, one of our community members in the Schwab Foundation, put it rightly that collective work means that we need to work with unlike others. That is, people who are not like us, people who are so different from us, who think differently than us. And for me, that is the real work of systems change. It's not just aligning because it's easy, but actually building trust and collaboration across differences, right? Because ultimately, I believe that the innovation of the 21st century may not lie in a new technology or a new product. It would actually lie in how we work together amidst our differences to address common goals. So my invitation for all of us in this room is simple, is that we don't just leave with new ideas or new contacts, but we live with a commitment that we are going to work together, even amidst our differences. So, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, collective work is going to be required for us to address systems change. Thank you so much. And then if you have questions, I'll be happy to take them in the chat.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for setting such a powerful foundation. I love that you said that collective work requires working with people that you are not used to working with. It's not just about alignment. I love it. So powerful. Let's keep our comments coming in the comment section. Whatever hits you so good, just put it in the comments. Thank you, Sophia. I will just quickly share my screen now to introduce our next speaker. All right. Thank you, Sophia. What a great start. And now to welcome our next speaker, we have
Uh-oh.
Nana, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. I would like to welcome our second speaker, Angelo Ezilo, the co-president Ashoka Africa and vice president of Empathy and Childhood Strategy. I'm sure most of us might know this, but Ashoka has pioneered the field of social entrepreneurship, and they're supporting over 4,000 Ashoka fellows. It's a leading network for social entrepreneurs. So, Angelo, it's such an honor to have you speak to us on how will social enterprises benefit from building a movement. Fantastic. Please have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana. And hello to everyone. I would like to thank the Africa Forward team for inviting me to say a few words with you. I don't have a lot of time, so I will make it quick. So I'm an Ashoka Fellow, and I'm a fellow because of the work that I did at the intersection of underrepresented Black and Brown youth, climate and environment, and youth development and unemployment. But I'm also, as you just saw, I'm also the co-president for Ashoka Africa. Ashoka, as Nana said, we've been around for, 4 decades or so, and our main focus is identifying social entrepreneurs who are working on root causes of social and environmental issues plaguing society. And specifically in Africa, we're working across 24 different countries. We have 5 different regions, focusing on issues anywhere from gender, climate, education, and the like. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but as I said, I just don't have a whole lot of time. But it's just I'm really excited to be here with you all. It's just so comforting to be in a room close to 175 social entrepreneurs during this turbulent time. Because about 10 years ago, I would say, we were talking about SDGs and the urgency of now. And, so these SDGs were focusing on agriculture, education, economics, gender equity, and so forth. And that urgency has not just increased it has multiplied exponentially. So we're entering a new period, which is unprecedented of transformation. And we are all very familiar with AI. I think we used to talk about it like something that was going to be happening in the future. Now we know that it is present and it is a force. And, we can embrace it and we see how it's benefiting us, but there's also some societal impact with AI. So things are happening even faster now. Things are systemic and destabilizing. So what we're witnessing is entire sectors being eliminated and reshaped. So in this new reality, what we know, and this is something that Ashoka is really drilling down on, is that everyone must view themselves as change makers, as these social innovators. So as I said, back in the 80s, the focus was on an individual. You give an individual a big idea and they can solve it. And this is the social entrepreneur. This is the Ashoka fellow that we all know of. But now with these things happening so rapidly and polycrisis, so many things happening all at once, we know we need a whole community. We need to build an ecosystem. We need to build a movement of everyone knowing that they are a change maker and they could effectuate change. So the challenges that we're facing now are just so complex, as we all know on this call. They're interconnected, they're crossing sectors, things are unpredictable, things are happening on a global level, but we're feeling it locally, like climate, and it's deeply human. So it's questioning purpose, identity, and dignity. So what we need is cross-sector collaboration, systems thinking, human-centered design, because we need to build communities of trust. And people often ask me why I seem so optimistic. And, when you see me, I have a smile on my face. And it's partly because I work with social entrepreneurs day in and day out, young and old, who are working on these solutions. And I know that they are this missing link, because what are they? They're reimagining education systems. They're building inclusive healthcare models. They're creating community-led solutions. But we're often left out. We're often on the peripheral. We're often underfunded. So, my simple message here this morning is stressing the importance of collaboration, of working together, of movement building. And you all have heard the different, and even Yogi, I believe said at the beginning that the whole is more than the sum of its parts. We've heard the proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I think that as we start thinking about how do we tackle some of these multi challenges and problems that are plaguing our communities and the whole continent, we have to work together. It's no longer an option. And what we can do together is unlock some of the funding that we know is out there. We can focus on mindset shift, which is co-creating a new way of looking at problems. Storytelling, we can figure out how to deliver and lift these impact stories. And perhaps, peer-to-peer, we can build these communities of practice so that we can share pain points. We can share best practices. We can build communities where we understand because we are proximate leaders on the ground. So I'll end there, but I'm looking forward to having more conversations in the groups if you have any questions for me. But I'd like to thank Pearl Yogi, Nana Luvuyo, the whole Africa Forward team for being the orchestrator that we really need right now to ensure our growth, sustainability, and well-being for the good of all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angelou. Just hitting those points in 6 minutes. Thank you for your insightful thoughts. And I see the comments. Just keep it coming, everyone. I want to take a moment to welcome Mr. Mamadou Ndeye. from the government of Senegal joining us. He is the Director of Cabinet at Senegal's Ministry of Microfinance, Social Economy and Solidarity. He was named Assure Foundation Public Social Innovator of the Year 2026. Welcome, sir. And it's time for me to introduce our next speaker. I'm truly looking forward to her thoughts. I want to welcome Anna Ekeledo, the CEO of AfriLabs. I think something profound about Anna Ekeledo and her role at AfriLabs is that when she joined AfriLabs, they were just, she's grown AfriLabs to 500 hubs across 53 countries in Africa. That's amazing. When she just joined, there were about 40 hubs, and it's just to show you the impact of what it means to build an ecosystem, right? A thriving one. So on this note, Anna, please have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to be on the call today. So if you permit me, I will share my screen and for presentation. Okay, please confirm you can see my screen and hear me clearly.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm honored again to be in this event today. I've just listened to the previous speakers and I couldn't agree more to a lot of the very practical insights that they've shared today. And I'm sort of aligned with quite a number of them. Now, today, I'll be speaking about building a unified Pan-African ecosystem and giving practical examples of the work that we do at AfriLabs. So to start with, as an introduction to AfriLabs, we are the largest network of innovation hubs, right? Quite a number of you on this call are familiar with innovation hubs. Some of you own innovation hubs, but just to give it into context, hubs are basically centers that support innovators, businesses, startups, SMEs build their businesses from the very idea phase all up onto scale phase. And they provide a range of services from mentoring the startups, supporting them build their products, at the MVP stage, access to market, providing access to investors, to new markets across the continent, which is what I'll speak to more. Now, AfriLabs were founded in 2011 with just 5 members across 4 African countries. And since then, we've grown into a large community across 50 plus African countries across the continent, right? 53 African countries to be specific. So this is just a snapshot of our network across the continent. This is broken down into the different regions across 3 African countries, over 200 cities represented, 5 regions, and a collective network of over 10 million ecosystem stakeholders, which are mostly the innovators, the startups, entrepreneurs, but also the larger ecosystem members that we work with and are part of our collective community. Now, as AfriLabs, we are very passionate about building a thriving innovation economy in Africa, powered by our community, right? And we do this with hubs at the heart of our growth and our work, right? Now, at AfriLabs, our focus is to support innovation hubs and their communities to raise high potential entrepreneurs that will stimulate growth and social development across Africa, across various sectors as well. And we basically focus a lot on capacity building, so equipping hubs and entrepreneurs with the tools to grow. Access to finance. We have quite a number of initiatives that are focused on facilitating grant finance, equity finance, debt, and the likes towards innovators and entrepreneurs, networking, connecting stakeholders across the continent, policy advocacy, data, and research. Now, to speak to the topic at hand, what makes Pan-African coordination so difficult, if we want to put it that way. First is fragmented data and knowledge, right? This is something that we see in the course of our work. We're looking for data new markets, if we're running a program, for example, in the climate ecosystem or health, or even data around setting up a business in some countries is quite difficult. But even specifically to our network of AfriLabs, especially when we work with different stakeholders, there is that challenge of even identifying what's the definition of a hub, what are the metrics that we should follow when it comes to success. Another is trust. Understandably, Africa is made up of 50 plus countries, but even if you break down towards country, we have thousands of cultures across the continent. We have various languages and all that, and these contribute sometimes to a lack of understanding of each other and trust, which is important to build a network. Unequal resource distribution, specifically in the startup ecosystem, we find a lot of situations whereby funding is targeted and driven towards certain countries over others, certain regions over others, certain language preferences over others. And then, of course, we have the policy and regulatory fragmentation, the inoperability of regulations across Africa, the different regulations that guide the different policies and laws that regulate sectors across the 54 different countries, or 55. Now we have the African Continental Free Trade Area, which has done a lot of work towards solving the problem of fragmentation. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and this again is the importance of why we need to come together as an African continent, because we need to drive the successful implementation of initiatives like that. Now, what do we need to do, right, in terms of coordination? What has worked for us as AfriLab? So I'll start with community, right? First off, when we started out in 2011, we started out with a community with shared interests and shared values and a common mission, right? We facilitated a lot of meetups, we built peer-to-peer relationships, we shared ideas of how this could work, and then we built a governance structure behind it. I will tell you for a fact that other attempts we've seen to sort of build a governance structure before building that community and trust hasn't worked. So I would always say, anytime you're looking to build a community, you're looking to unify people around the shared goal across the continent or even within a country, always start with the strength in the community first. Second, create reciprocal value, right? So every hub within our network, we constantly strive to improve the impact and the value that we provide to hubs, right? Through training, visibility, funding access, and the likes. And we've done this through a series of regular needs assessment surveys. We carry out listening tours. We have focus groups, we have regional meetups, so we're constantly in the process of understanding what value is to our community members, and then designing our programs, our partnerships, our interventions, our platforms towards providing this value. And then honor local leadership. This is very important for us. Whenever we're implementing a program, we always work with our member hubs on the ground, right? And the beauty of having members across 200 African cities is that our program impact goes beyond just the major cities and the likes, right? We ensure that impact is as inclusive and as distributed as possible, and this is only possible by working with and respecting the leadership and the local context experts, in the field across the sectors. Now, what structures work? Knowledge and platforms. We constantly bring our members together through our AfriLabs annual gathering, but through regional meetups as well, both virtual and physical, to exchange peer exchange, hub data. I mentioned earlier, we're constantly, engaging our hubs to understand not just their needs, but also understand the nature of hubs. Over time, hubs have evolved from when we started out over 15 years ago. Some hubs have become mature, and as such, their hub structures have needed a new kind of support, a new kind of stakeholder. So again, that hub data is very important for us to constantly deliver value. AfriLabs Connect is a platform where we connect our ecosystem and stakeholder network together, so other people that also want to connect with hubs. We facilitate hubs as a soft landing pad for startups. And then, of course, we carry out research partnerships with global institutions as well. Our programs as well are focused on fostering cross-border collaboration. That is very important. It's one thing to build a network and bring people together. It's very important to create opportunities for them to work together, right? So create programs that, in our case, we've created programs and we've funded programs at hubs in West Africa, for example, work with hubs in East Africa, Southern Africa, East Africa, even within a region as well. We're constantly fostering cross-regional collaboration in the most practical ways possible. Shared capacity curriculum, we actually built the first of its kind hub management curriculum on the continent. I encourage you to check it out, Afrilabs Academy. And it basically was co-created with the ecosystem, with our network member based on their expertise, right? Across the continent and across different subjects. And of course, exchange programs between hub cohorts. I touched on that as well. Advocacy, we're constantly speaking to governments as well. We've been quite involved in a lot of startup acts and the likes, as well as pushing for enabling policies, AI policies, digital policies, trade policies. Again, going as one voice wouldn't move the needle. But when we come together, we last year, we also set up our policy mobilization action group with a renewed commitment to working together as a Pan-African community to drive some of the policies on emerging technologies on the continent. So basically, these are some examples. These basically, again, speak to what I've mentioned, amplifying our voice, sharing of knowledge, sharing risk as well in terms of financing, system change, and the like. So all of these basically touch to what I've spoken to already. So thank you very much. I have run out of time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna. Thank you. And I love the practical examples. Thank you. It's so much value. I saw someone say, please drop the slides, please share the slides. Thanks, Anna, for sharing. I would like to know if you have a hub already in Chad. Okay, great question. I know that Anna could always respond in the comment section as well.
Yes, I'll respond.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so let's quickly move to the next segment. Thank you. Such a great session. Yes. Please feel free to use those applause emojis. Thank you. All right. Right now, quickly, we want to invite key players in this work called ecosystem building, in this sector, social entrepreneurship. And that is Adenu Mesen, the
I think you mute.
I'm not sure if I think Nana has frozen, so probably an issue with her network. So maybe I'll jump in until she's able to log in again. So as she was saying, we have our network partners who have joined us not just in terms of this event, but are doing amazing work across their various countries in terms of building these networks. So we really want to hear from Adenu, Brother Jonas from Kenya, Sean from South Africa, and Edwin from Ghana on their unique experiences and the challenges they experience in relation to running a network nationally, as well as some of the opportunities they see. So Adenu, maybe we could start with you as the new host of ACOSI this year, also running several events in the Ethiopian social enterprise space. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Yogi. I wanted to start really by saying congratulations and also thank you for hosting this event. We spoke about it some months ago and it's wonderful to see it in fruition. So I'm really excited to be here and thank you so much for organizing this, Nana, the whole team, the Africa Forward team. I want to just say very briefly about Social Enterprise Ethiopia. We have been established some 8 years, and we have had collectively an impact, a positive impact on around 19 million Ethiopians. And we have around 650 plus members. I think the main sort of maybe message I want to say is the impact that social entrepreneurs, both here in Ethiopia and also in across the continent, have our values that we have an impact either on societal, in terms of addressing societal problems or environmental problems. So it's all about impact, and then the sustainability element comes through it being an enterprise, so self-sustaining, particularly with the current situation where Western donors are actually putting back their development funds for Africa. It's really, I think the social enterprise business model is the key to supporting our own growth, our own economy, our own society, sort of social and environmental sort of solution busting. In terms of movement building, I think that it's key because, as I say, when we're having to deal with one of our major problems as a sector is one, that there are very few countries with legal frameworks for to govern the social enterprise sector, and two, financing. Those are the two key problems that are sort of continentally sort of relevant. And so in those terms, Ethiopia recently, the government came out with a policy and strategy. I think what the movement building, the importance of it is that it helps us support one another, unite, and really it's essential in terms of promoting the social enterprise system that many people don't know the business model, although I would argue also that it's a sort of a natural, organic African way of trading. And also in terms of, I think, problem solving, innovative solutions that can be, scaled up and also adapted and moved across regions, especially when the African Free Continental Trade Agreement comes into effect. It means that we will be working in unison, supporting one another, and addressing each other's problems, while also supporting our own communities and our own countries here. And I think that finally, I just want to say that the social enterprise ecosystem is really dynamic. We are change makers. We're not afraid of change. We look at problems and we don't run away from problems. We see them as opportunities to solve. And so I am honored, I am blessed to be part of this sector. And I think that the more ambassadors we have in terms of promoting this idea across the continent, the more effectively we will be able to prepare for Africa's future. I was in a conference the last 2 days of the UN, which was focusing on youth development. And some people hadn't heard about social enterprise, and we're really excited to hear about it. So I think movement building will help us really promote this message far and wide. Thank you so much. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank
Great.
you so much. Okay, yes, Yogi.
No, I was just checking if you were unmuted, but it's okay. Carry.
Okay, thank you. I think we would have Edwin. Edwin.
Thank you so much, Nana.
Okay, thank you.
For me,
Thank you. Yes.
for me, just taking stock for us to pause and celebrate. I mean, these are great team of progress and work that we have done over the period. Yogi, Luvo, Nana, I think for me to see the number of people in this space, 152, tells me about the journey and the work that we are doing in the ecosystem. And I must commend the team at African Forward. These are great spirited people. You can see the love. When I met these guys in South Africa, you can see the passion and interest they have for the ecosystem. They know very wonderful guy. Jonas, you were in Ghana here. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet, but Brother Jonas is always in touch. But that tells about the story of the social enterprise ecosystem we have in Ghana. These are lovely people who are building networks, making change and promoting a transformation that even with that policy in our respective countries, we are making very great ecosystem movements that is showing and showcasing the great jobs that our social enterprises are doing across various countries. And I think that is what I'm talking about, that the need for us to reflect, pause, celebrate the few milestones and progress we have made, but also say that it gives us a lot of space to do a lot more stuff. It's with humility that a lot of us say that the social enterprise ecosystem and movement has a lot of role to play in providing the young people skills, opportunities, and unlocking the job opportunities that are across different countries, different continents, and what have you. And the job is for us now to do a lot of work, be it around promoting skills. And thanks so much, Africa Forward. As I speak, we are training wonderful young people here with your support, and they are very happy. Just within 2 days, these young people can go back home with skills to start something on their own and put bread and butter for themselves and their family. So that is the path to develop social entrepreneurs, especially the young ones, the young females, who can create job opportunities in their respective countries. And we say that with or without policy frameworks, we still have a lot of work to do in this space. And you can see it that all over when you talk about Anna in the area of hubs and the incubation centers and the great job that they have done at Africa Lab, Ashoka, the movement across Africa and the great job that has been done, and the support from the World Economic Forum. I believe that we have no excuse as movement and network builders to say that these are great support systems for us to create a lot more impact in the various communities that we're. So I say social entrepreneurs, this is the time for us to create impact, job opportunities for young people, and move away from be it policy or no policy. We still have a lot to do in our ecosystems. So thanks to Africa Forward and the whole ecosystem and the great jobs that our other networks are doing, from Ethiopia to Kenya to Nigeria. Guys, kudos to all of you for the great job that you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you. And for all the work you're doing right there in Ghana. Thank you. And I'll welcome right now, Brother Jonas, the ED of, yes, Social Enterprise Kenya. Thank you. And
Good afternoon. Thanks, Nana. Even though I sit, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah. Even though I sit in the board of Social Enterprise Kenya, I think I'm not the chair, but I talk here representing NASE, basically, which is the network of African Social Enterprise. And the conversation we are having this afternoon is crucial. And because the conversation around movement building is not new. We have had that, but we really have to find a formula that works for us. And we also know very well that it's a challenge. Building this movement is a real challenge. I will just touch on some of those things. The network of social enterprise, African social enterprise, was launched in 2024. That's 2 years ago. With social enterprise, Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, Ivory Coast. Then we had Uganda that joined later. And the realization is very simple. Social enterprise in different countries are doing amazing work. They are building their ecosystem. But each one is in its own corner, basically. So we came together to build this network. So a network that give us a bigger idea about what social enterprise should be in Africa. I think one of the main problems was that we were not thinking big enough. We are very happy doing great things in our own corner. So we started saying, no, we need to think big. We are a continent, so we need to think big. So that big thinking, I think, is what gave birth to the network of African social enterprise. And what we try to do basically is to help other countries build a strong ecosystem. I will come back a little bit about the ecosystem, the importance of the ecosystem. And we also do now advocacy for social enterprise. We want to provide pipeline for scaling. For instance, if you have a solution, for instance, in Kenya, a social entrepreneur want to scale that solution to Ghana. So you have a network that enable you to say, okay, you can connect with an entrepreneur. So it's easier when you have, you belong to a network, it's easier to kind of connect, scale solution, find new partnership, and also the possibility of doing cross-country research projects. I think those are the things that our network is trying to do, and also amplify the work that is happening across countries. If something is happening in Ghana, it's easier for somebody in Ethiopia to know what is happening in Ghana. I think that's what we have been doing. For us, our strong belief is that social enterprise in Africa cannot grow without a strong ecosystem. A positive ecosystem is kind of something that breeds social enterprise. So that is why the conversation around building a movement where we are not fragmented is very, very, very important. So I want to say that building this movement should be one of the key priorities of anybody interested in social enterprise in Africa, because this is what I've seen, the struggle and the challenge, to kind of grow this very positive energy across the continent. So I think that for me is one of the priority that you should have to build this movement. But we also need to realize that it's challenging to do it. The work we have done the last 2 years with the NASA, it has not been easy. It's challenging because it requires a very strong leadership and then resources. Two key things that I want to kind of mention. The leaders of Ghana, Ethiopia, or Kenya, they are doing this network building on top of what they are already doing with their local network. So it's challenging. So that is where we need more partnership collaboration to see how do we kind of strengthen this network building. That's why I really appreciate the effort, the work that Africa Forward is doing, and also all the conversation we have had in order to see how we can, build on what is already existing. Definitely, we are not. What I like from what I'm hearing, it's not a question of reinventing the wheel, but it's now try to see what is existing. How do we strengthen that? How do we build on that? I think that is what is important, and then we count on African Forward to kind of help spearhead that strengthening what is already existing. So what I want to say is that we all talk about partnership, across, but it's not enough to talk about partnership. We also have to see how we sustain those partnerships to help social enterprise grow on this continent.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brother Jonas. How do we sustain these partnerships? key challenges highlighted, leadership and resources. Thank you so much. And now I'll pass the mic to Sean. Sean, please have the floor. Would love to hear your thoughts on this segment. Thank you.
Thanks, Nana, and good day, everyone. I think we've definitely heard just so much around how we need to bring the change that we need to see, specifically on the continent. And social entrepreneurship is one of that vehicles that's going to take us there. And if we look at there's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And social entrepreneurship in Africa is not a solo sprint. It's a long collective journey of people who refuse to accept the status quo. We have to see Africa going forward. And that's important. I think as all the stakeholders that's on here, it's important for us to be able to see that. It's about moving past the idea of managing poverty, but stepping into leadership of prosperity. And as a collective, we need to be able to do that. I chair the Social Enterprise Academy Africa. And at Social Enterprise Academy, our focus is really to build the capacity of social entrepreneurs in order for us to focus on that growth and taking what we do forward and taking this continent forward and taking the entrepreneurs that we're working with forward. We need to build their capacity and we need to build those movements. The other thing that's quite important is the fact that at Social Enterprise Academy, we've built a network called Social Connect, where we're already linking with over 10,000 social entrepreneurs on a day-to-day basis, once again, democratizing that network. And that's the essence of the power of the network. That's the essence of what Africa Forward has been able to bring together today, and not just today. We see this as an outflow of the social entrepreneurship research study that we did with the World Economic Forum. The data that came out of that has been able to give us some of the tools that's needed to be able to take the work of social entrepreneurship forward on the continent. And for us to be able to do that, there needs to be that alignment. Are we wanting to drive impact, build the capacity, and ensure that we are taking businesses forward within the space? I think critical elements for me, and one of my previous speakers mentioned it as well, is access to markets. In order for us to make sure that we are able to disrupt and create the economic prosperity for social entrepreneurs, we need to focus on creating access for markets. We need to focus on driving this as a key pillar for the Africa Free Trade Agreement as well. That are we able to open up opportunities within our own countries, but also across borders for social entrepreneurs to be able to focus what they need to do and drive the economic change that they need to see. We need to be able to ensure that we are capacitating them to drive compliance and focus that on not just social procurement, but really impact procurement in order to take the economic prosperity forward. Thanks, Nana.
Fantastic. Wow, fantastic. I think I've had such a blast just listening to these 4 ecosystem leaders, and I can see the comment section. I can see everyone's comment, and I love it. Please let's continue. And our speakers, please, if you see questions for you, it would be great to just respond. We want everyone's voice to be heard and their perspective just also heard too. I will move on now to the next segment of this event. I want us to, I'm going to pass the mic now to Yogi, who would be facilitating this segment. Hi, Yogi.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Nana, and thanks everyone. So many insights shared, and you can see that we're trying to pack a lot into a short time, but we can't leave this event without hearing from all of you. I mean, you're really the brains trust in the ecosystem, and we're just sort of trying to, provide the grease to enable us to work more easily together and for all the cogs in the wheel to work easily together. So we want to have a quick small group breakaway just for 10 minutes. We're going to have you all randomly assigned into groups. We're going to have, I think, about 24 groups based on the number of people we have in the virtual room today. You're going to have 10 minutes to answer only one of these questions. So don't be nervous at all 3 questions and having only 10 minutes. You only need to respond to one. So groups 1 to 8 will respond to question 1. Groups 9 to 16 will respond to the second question, and the remaining group. So if your group number is from 17 to 24, you will respond to question 3. Okay, so if you go, this is, so you're going to get into these groups. You will allocate one person. So Nana, I need the slides again so that we can show the Mentimeter code. You need to allocate one person who's going to add the response onto the Menti code, right? So you go into the Menti page and you will answer your specific question. You'll provide your response for your group in there. So Nana, will you put up the slide so people can see the Menti code? It's the same one we used earlier. And I know that, you know, with the small groups and all of that, sometimes we need like a quick intro to everyone. We only have 10 minutes and we encourage you to get started on the conversation straight away. So you will discuss and you'll add your responses onto your respective, for your respective question. So you'll see it on the screen. Nana is sharing. Groups 1 to 8 answer question A. Groups 9 to 16 answer question B. And group 17 to 24 answer question C. And please have someone, just one person in your group, collate the insights, get onto menti.com, onto that code and add in there so that we can see what your feedback is, because there's simply too many groups for us to have all of you give verbal feedback. So this is really important so that we can collate that. So with that, please go ahead into your groups and you have 10 minutes. We will reconvene at 3:28 for a little bit of plenary feedback. So if you have any questions, please. Experienced a problem with sound. So apparently either that they couldn't hear each other or people were muted and not talking. So I didn't know we were a shy group, but we're going to give you an opportunity to have your voices heard here, because I think there have been some struggles with people putting on their feedback on Menti, and I know it's a short time. So I think let's have people's voices in the room. We are out of time, so I'm going to beg your leniency for another 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe let's just hear from a couple of you just in terms of the questions that you had. The first question being, what are the specific areas where we could achieve greater impact if we acted collectively? Is there any brave soul who would like to? Oh, I didn't even have to finish my question. I was going to ask who could put up their hands and give us some feedback on that question. I see Tolalupe. I don't want to butcher your name. Please
You got it right.
introduce yourself.
You got it right.
Thanks.
You could pass for
Okay.
Nigerian though. Hello, good afternoon.
I love it. I love it.
Hello, good
Okay,
afternoon, good morning,
Yeah.
and good evening, everyone. My name is Tolulope Makinwa, representing Muazu Africa, and we are focused on rural social enterprises here in Nigeria. So our question, I was in group 16 with Feishayo Alayode, Joel Akana, and Abiodu Owo. And our question was, what would I like this movement of social entrepreneurship ecosystem builders to achieve? And we all agreed unanimously that from our perspective, We'd like this movement to help social entrepreneurship ecosystem builders become legible and investable so that capital, support, and policy attention can flow to places and people that are often invisible from the system. And Joel also suggested that we need to encourage public-private partnerships between investors, ESOs, development agencies, and local actors, not just for programs, but for long-term market transformation. Thank you.
Sure. Powerful, hard-hitting, and to the point. Love it, love it. And I can see Christian smiling about that, because that whole finance discussion is one that we've been having quite a bit of. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, let's let it pop so that we can get a few voices before we have to close. Luther, please go ahead.
Thank you. Luther Diedrichs from South Africa. My focus is entrepreneurship. In our group, we came to agreement, like the 5 blind people that approached the elephant, and each feeling a part of it and making assumptions. But they were all wrong because they only felt a part. We as a group said to understand the whole is important. You need systems, you need functions, you need processes, and you need integration. And because of AI, that is so important that we need to map what we have and get general agreement from where we are and where we want to be functionally and holistically, because the group is quite a diverse group. Each specific function like health, agriculture, entrepreneurial, and whatever, it's got each their own complexity. So you need to individualize it, but then also integrate it so you can make greater impact. That we work with the elephant, not only with parts of the elephant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what Luther also mentions is sometimes like what is seen as like the unsexy part of actually getting a movement and ecosystem working together, but so necessary, right? Like those systems, those processes, I think is vital. So thank you for sharing that. I thought I saw Rafiel's hand, but I don't see it anymore. I now see Zakona. Please go ahead.
Hi, Yogi and everyone. From our group discussion, there was a great suggestion that came from Barbara from Nigeria, which is a digital platform that will enable social entrepreneurs to register on, so we can do a digital mapping throughout the whole continent, so we can know where we are and where to find each other for these collaborations to take place and for like an ecosystem to be enabled.
Yeah. Sure, thank you. That's, again, so important. If we don't have visibility, we can't do all the rest of it, all the nice kind of collaborations we talk about. Yes, please. I've got Mary Jean and then Shadrach. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Antoinette, who's from Congo and studying in Kenya, and then Sibusiso from the Eastern Cape, and Marcus van Wyk, I think you know. And what we came up with was also a database and to network, and we thought, well, Africa Forward has actually got the contact details of people, and that would be really nice to be, in order to be able to contact people. And then the other thing that and also to do it by sectors, because so that if looking for somebody in human transformation, then I know somebody who's going to be going to care, then I would put in touch with Antoinette. So that is extremely useful. But keeping the database going would be, it would obviously be expensive, and I think that's. But we have to do something in order. You can't see my hand too much, maybe, but we have to do something in order to be able to make those contacts go further.
Yeah.
So 3 in our group from South Africa, and I hadn't met them before. So it's Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's something that we would almost take for granted, but the sector is actually big. It's growing, and we need visibility to each other to make this happen. Thank you. Shadrach, please go ahead.
Thank you. We were in group 17, and what we were able to discuss within that short period was on the challenges. We were a membership of about 4 people, and what came out clearly, one of the biggest challenges is the localization perspectives, whereby the ideas they are being and the solutions are being developed to solve local issues, and therefore sometimes in the areas and the aspects of now scaling sometimes becomes difficult. But now working together, working as a team, then scaling becomes easy. Number 2 was the issue of the capacity, the capacity of the social entrepreneurs. It also needs to be worked on, and therefore that's another challenge. Also networking, because of the localization and the working, because majority of them they are in the local areas or the countries, therefore they may not have the resources to do networking and learn from the rest. Because of the number 4, because of the dwindling funding and issues, therefore funding to scale, funding to make things better is also an issue. And because when these social enterprise, they start in a small way, sometimes because of difficulties, even to make some little income to sustain the staff becomes difficult. Therefore, you find there is always a high turnover of the innovators or the staff who had the initial ideas or who have been there to build the organization. The issues of duplication across the country, across our continent was also listed as a challenge. Thank you. Those are the issues we were able to pick in our group 17.
Yeah. Thank you. Those are quite significant. Localization, capacity building, networking, financing in order to continue innovation. It's really important. We'd like to take just maybe 1 or 2 more voices. I know we have to close. Time is always an issue. It's never enough to discuss such a mammoth topic, but we'd really like to hear and from all over the continent. So any other thoughts that anyone would like to throw in the mix? Thank you, Beatrice, for the cheering. Amani, please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and good morning, good evening. So, and actually in our group, we're group number room 13, actually we were given this question on the structures and to see what's the bigger problem about it. Actually, currently I'm representing an enterprise called Usaili. It's an art organization where creativity is part of it. And it's a young enterprises that is run under Sandbox Innovation Hub from the university, and we are all students. And despite our being these spaces and we are in a university, it's a very good moment that we are learning. So as we are growing up, we actually see there's a big lack of skills and labor to ensure that efficiency when we are trying to develop and actually looking on the logistics of financial structures. So I think there's a big financial lack, especially in Africa in this context. A lot of awareness we need to discuss more and dialogue more on how we can scale up our financial growth. And also other things like having weaker policies that will allow us framework our ideas. And I'm speaking specifically in the East African side. So when it comes to the issue of infrastructures, financial, we lack these things. So we need systems that will bear with us and will also increase more investment in resources and capacity building. So those are at least the common things that we discussed and the solutions that we came up, increasing investment and capacity building. This will actually nurture the growth and the development. I think that's enough, and thank you so much. And I think having African Forward will actually catalyze the change and bring the growth and movement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. That's really helpful. And you can see the common themes coming through. We'll take Georgette before closing, going to a close. Georgette, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I was in group 21 and we were looking at what we would like the movement to become. And we were inviting the movement to dream big and to think of pulling the whole of Africa together in one movement that can give a new face of Africa. And also to make it in a way that when we say partnership, it is really a partnership, exchanging a serious partnership. That's what we're thinking of. Thank
you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And, you know, as I said, time is never enough for such a massive conversation, but you'll be comforted in knowing that it's the first of many, and we're going to be inviting you to many events, meetings that, you know, we can get together and discuss as a community, and we will follow this up with the outcomes of everything we've discussed, pulled together, and the key insights to help you. I'm going to hand back to Nana to lead us towards a close. Thank you.
Okay. Wow, it's been such a great time together. I really enjoyed your thoughts so far. Really, really did. I'll just move on now to, hold on, just making sure that you can see my slides. Just quickly. All right. Before I hand the mic to the Executive Director of Africa Forward and to just give, you know, to talk to you, to thank you, I'd like to just share a few next steps. Hello? Can you hear
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, okay. Okay, great. Just a few next steps. For everyone who has joined, registered, you'll automatically join the Friends of Africa Forward community. We'll be sharing more updates, especially because we've had such a great time together. The engagements were so rich. We'll definitely dive in deeper as a team. And the outcome of, you know, this conversation would be part of the next steps we'll be sharing with you via email. Another thing is, as a sequel to this meeting, there's different ways we want to, again, support this ecosystem. We're thinking about building task forces, right? Little groups where we're able to dive in deeper to solve the problems that you've all identified to ensure that this ecosystem is strengthened. We would definitely want to know your thoughts on that. Again, I'm going to now pause and allow Adenu. I know Adenu has an announcement to make. If you can just take the mic for 2 minutes to just talk about, or 1 to 2 minutes to just talk about that very important announcement. Okay. If he's not here, I think I would pass the mic now to Livoyo, our Executive Director. Please have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana. Thanks everyone, and always been so great to have the Africa Forward session, and they go beyond the time because of the content. I mean, and because of the richness of the session. So there are a few people that I want to thank. Let me start with the chair, my chair, our chair, Dr. Amuyu, for providing leadership for Africa Forward. We are so led in Africa Forward to have Dr. Amuyu and able to also to work with Catalyst and bring these things together. We are so appreciating for the leadership of our chair, and also I appreciate and Cheryl Dorsey to spend time with us and be with us today from the catalyst and also from the Inquiry Grain be part of the session. Really, I mean, we really appreciate, I mean, the support and see the energy, the engagement in Africa to see that from Africa Forward. Now, as you all know, Africa Forward comes from Catalyst. I mean, you see at the back of me, we are powered by the Catalyst now as part of the movement building globally. So we're part of the globe as much as we're focusing on the continent now. So we have to acknowledge the presence now. And I mean, you hear the welcoming of Mamadou from Senegal. I mean, it's been amazing and great for Africa Forward to work with the government, which not only Ethiopia now, it used to be only 2 governments in Africa that have a policy of social and solidarity economy. As you are aware, last year, our energy was more on the policy. We still continue with the policy. Everything we do, it works towards the policy. And we're not going to wait for the policy for the government to do it. We're going to work to make sure that we're strengthening the movement building, we're strengthening the job creation, the data. So by the time government realize that they have to kind of like work around us, we already, I mean, in that aspect. So that's why like when we see government coming in and be with us, and that's like something that we really appreciated because of that's what we are doing. So thanks so much to Mamadou for coming. We can't wait to see in person in Senegal now. And also board member Olivia was here just to say, I mean, for Africa Forward, I mean, we appreciate for Olivia. Nana and Yogi, I know at what we see today, it was been sweat and blood. It was not a kind of like a great way you've managed to bring in all the partners, and you work so hard and work for this thing. And I really say to you, thank you for holding and putting this event. And this is the beginning of more of this movement building. And I really appreciate it, not only from the Yogi and the team, O'Brien and Upel, and also Adrian, who are behind the scene and were part of Africa Forward. Africa Forward is only a 6 team that, I mean, you see on the Africa Forward. And this is amazing. I mean, people that I'm honored to work with them because they work so hard. They give it all because they love it. They are passionate with the space. And this is what like we do now. And also with working with these partners, I mean, socially, I mean, Ethiopia, in Ghana, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in South Africa, and we really appreciate, I mean, the spirit of working together. I think it's something that Africans now are kind of are doing it now. We are working together because we see there's no other, other way now. And also our speakers, man, Sophia from the Schwab, it's just like seeing the growth that you see and the way articulative now. I mean, you set the tone for the first and coming with you, Angela. I mean, we from Ashoka with the conversation we have it and even today, we appreciate. And Anna, I mean, from AfriLabs, I see your chair. I mean, I saw your chair. I mean, from AfriLabs also, I mean, in the present, we also are much more appreciative now. I add a new Edwin, Brother Jonas, and Shona. Sean, man, we really appreciate it now. Just like a quick one, just to say that as part of Africa Forward now, we're not only having this virtual event, we will have in person. There are 3 countries that are going to work it, that we're going to in person now. And in the month of June, we'll be coming to Senegal, having a convening in Senegal that we're going to, having a session. And then in the month of August, we'll also be coming to Ghana and working with the Ghanaians and see how we move the policy. And then October, we'll be in Ethiopia working with ASOC on the Conference of Social Entrepreneurs, working with everything we do, we're working towards that. And then in November, we're having a 2nd annual, Africa Forward, summit that we're going to have it in Nigeria. So everyone is part of as engagement is invited to be part of this session. Any session that you want to be, you are most important. I think the biggest thing for me for today, for everyone, is just to say how important that we have to work together. We don't have a choice. This is our time to show how serious, how we intentionally work together now. This is a moment. Africa Forward is here as to bring a platform for everyone to come together and work together now. And that is going to need a good leadership, a leadership that care deep from the continent, and a leadership that really see beyond itself, because that's what probably most of the time it becomes ego-centric for individuals. So we're here to serve and we're here to work to assist you. So everyone will be part of the session contributed. And everyone, I'd just like to say from on behalf of Africa Forward, thank you for coming and be with us and continue supporting Africa Forward and follow Africa Forward. We will continue serving you. Your feedback could be positive and negative. We welcome Africa because that's how we are going to grow as Africa Forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you